in Stuttgart than here. Here on the outdoor hard court, the ball jumps a lot more. It jumps off the court. You see Pavel, we showed you that graphic, 40 straight games he's held serve going back to his second round match. So that gives Rafter a little more time. It gives his serve is what we call more of a kick serve. It really bounces, explodes off the court. And he's more effective in these conditions. Beautifully done by Rafter. Sometimes when you watch Patrick Rafter, Bill, it's like you're getting a geometry lesson on how to use the angles of the court. He opens it up here, and look at the way he carves under this backhand. Beautiful. Look at the slice on that ball. Stays low. Such great feel, such great technique around the net. Ondrej Pavel, Bill, has one of the best backhands and one of the most beautiful one-handed backhands in the game today. Hits through that ball so well. Look at the early preparation from Pavel. The way he gets through that ball, stays down low. Beautiful timing. Too much power for Rafter to handle there. But Rafter setting the tone early, coming in, putting pressure on Pavel's serve. Letting the Romanian know that any chance he gets, he's going to make him come up with some passing shots.
.40-15, as you mentioned, Pavel has not lost his serve since the second game of his second round match against Francisco Clavet. He has held serve for 40 straight games and had that streak, and it's ongoing, of 16 consecutive break points saved.
Which is amazing when you consider that he doesn't have a big serve. He doesn't have a big first serve. But that's what he's been doing well, Bill. Serving and volleying, mixing it up, keeping his opponents guessing.
Tried to pin him down on which he prefers, playing back or coming in. He said, whatever I feel at the moment.
Whatever wins, that's what he prefers.
And he has been doing that. Here's how these gentlemen got to the final.
Big win by Pavel over Roddick. Haas pulled out against Pavel at 6-4, 5-love. Rafter taking out Santoro, the Frenchman, easily last night in the semifinals. So firm, so crisp on that first volley, Patrick Rafter. That backhand volley is one of the deadly shots in the game. As Stefan Edberg, who I mentioned, had a terrific backhand volley, and now it's Rafter who's got the best in the business. Yep, you're going to see high numbers from Rafter all day long. Already into net 7 times.
Just long. Pavel arrived here late Sunday night, played in a clay court tournament in Kitzbühel, and he said, you know, he didn't really have expectations for himself this week. He just relaxed and played, and it has really paid off.
Great second serve from Rafter. Good depth. He can kick that second serve. He can slice it. It's what we call, the players like to call, Bill, a heavy ball. He gets a lot of leg into it, a lot of action on the ball. It's not necessarily the pace that hurts you, but it's the spin and the placement from the Australian.
Love game from Rafter on serve early in the first set from Montreal. Well, earlier this week at famed Olympic Stadium here in Montreal, the Montreal Expos had a special guest suit up for batting practice. There he is with another Aussie, Graham Lloyd, Patrick Rafter.
Shaved his beard since then, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Rafter. They could use him, the Expos.
He took his
good
cuts
cut.
and made some solid contact.
That's pretty solid there.
There you go.
Whoa,
In the
man,
gap
right
for
in the
extra
gap.
bases.
A cricket swing there from Rafter. All right, we'll take that.
You know, he enjoys everything he does. Have you noticed?
He's one of the most liked guys on the tour.
First point, 4th game of the first set.
That's the shot from Pavel that can break down a little bit under pressure, and Rafter knows it. Looping that ball and getting it up fairly high to Pavel is a shot he doesn't like. And that ball sprayed on him on the forehand side, and you can bet that Rafter taking note of that as Pavel throwing the toss up. The players have had trouble all week, Bill, with tossing the ball this time of day on that side of the court. Sometimes you have to alter your toss. Sometimes you even have to alter if you're in a serve and volley because you can get blinded momentarily by the sun. Oftentimes a big break there for Pavel. You'll see serve volley players actually serve and stay back because of the slight glare. You can't pick up the ball that quickly. Here again, Rafter continuing to put pressure on when he gets a chance in the net court. Break there for Pavel.
15 all. An ace. It was perfectly placed in 30-15.
That is what Pavel has done throughout the week, is pick up those crucial service points, the winners, at big moments. 15 all, even though it's early, 1-2. That's a time where you need a free point. And Pavel, is, as we showed you with all the break point saves, has been doing it all week.
How about the quickness from Rafter?
Well, one of the reasons why Rafter's one of the most electrifying players to watch is his speed around the court. Look how quickly he reacts to this and gets up to it and is able to stop himself from actually running into the net there. Of course, if you hit the net, you lose the point. Well done again by Pavel with that wide serve in the deuce court. Rafter was leaning that direction, got the return back in play, but look at the forehand. When the ball's low in the strike zone there for Pavel, around his knees, around his hips, he hits it well. It's the high one that he can have trouble with. Again, checking the sun.
And that's 42 straight games now that Pavel has held his serve. Well, for the best year-round sports coverage on the net, including breaking news, in-depth stats, contests, and free fantasy games, log on to cbs.sportsline.com or AOL keyword CBS Sportsline. And Rafter taking his time. You know, cramping has been a problem in the relatively recent past for Rafter. Wonderful serve. In fact, he had some tests done that showed that he perspired twice as much as the average athlete.
And I think that was the reason. Of course, his cramping came up at Australia in the Australian Open semifinal against Agassi. Of course, it's always very hot down there, and Agassi makes you work harder than anyone. Rafter unhappy with the call. Rafter started cramping, Bill, and he actually led in that match 2-1. Started cramping early in the fourth set. Agassi was wearing him down physically. By the end of the match, Rafter could barely stand up, but he didn't pull out, and he stuck in there till the end. How about some of the matches Rafter and Agassi have had in the last 2 years? Of course, 2 Wimbledon semifinals. Look at the kick on this ball, the spin, the placement. Look at that, swinging away.
No chance. Second ace.
And what Rafter does, and If we see this replay right here, you'll see the way Rafter throws the toss up. Look at the way he throws the toss. You can't read it. You think he's going to go up the middle because he throws the ball back over his head and hit the kicker, but he can also slide you out wide. 3 aces already for Rafter.
That only the 3rd point that Rafter has lost on his serve. 40-15. Final of the Tennis Masters Series Montreal and the CBS Sports Spectacular. And another ace for Rafter. 3-2, first set. Tennis Center Complex in Montreal. Finals of the Tennis Masters Series Montreal. Patrick Rafter and unseeded Andre Pavel. For Pavel, this is his first final of the year. Made the semifinals twice in 2001, but no further. He's had some tough draws in big events this year. He had to play Nicholas Kiefer in Hamburg and Germany, Cedric Pioline at center court at the French Open, and Greg Ruzetsky at Wimbledon. And this is a guy who almost left the game a couple of times. Struggled with injury.
Oh, just missed it. Again, Pavel using his head, using his experience. He knows that Rafter's looking to chip and come in and put pressure, but look what Pavel does. Comes in himself. And a beautiful volley there. Pavel has outstanding hands and great feel for the right tactics. And he needs that because he doesn't have the big weapons, the big firepower. Rafter trying to go right at Pavel, who was on top of the net.
Andre Pavel, not a name that casual fans may be that familiar with, but Rafter knowing better than to take him lightly.
Especially since the last time they played, or last year when they played in Stuttgart, Pavel won. Rafter did beat him earlier this year on grass. Once Rafter starts to get the feel there on the return, Pavel's going to be in trouble, I think.
Clean winner. Freezes Rafter. Pavel, one of those players that the other players on tour know how good he is.
Exactly, Bill. And he's also the type of guy that if you don't play your best, he'll beat you, because he's a guy that always plays well. He's consistent. He can do a lot of different things. Serve, volley, as we're seeing today. Stay back. He can counter punch.
Had it lined up.
Another game point for Pavel at 2-3.
40-30.
Another big serve when he needed it.
So 3-all. We mentioned that this is Patrick Rafter's first tournament since Wimbledon. We had a chance to talk with him about his vacation.
I went back to Bermuda, had a couple of weeks off. I went to the beach, played a bit of golf, and I kept a little bit of fitness going, playing a bit of soccer, a bit of football, that sort of thing. Just enjoyed myself, had a good time. Tennis was not really a priority at that stage. It was trying to get away from tennis and come refreshed into this tournament, and it's worked.
Now, Patrick said he's usually a slow starter after taking time off, but he said his game has really come around quickly this week.
And believe me, Bill, he was very disappointed losing that Wimbledon final. That's been one of Rafter's dreams his whole career, to win Wimbledon. He said that after he lost to Ivan Isavic this year, and of course he lost to Sampras last year and had a real shot to beat Sampras last year in the final. He said he took about 4 or 5 days when he went back to Bermuda, and really he said he just stayed inside, didn't talk to anyone, needed time on his own.
That was a match where, as a fan, it was tough to decide who to root for. Ivan Isavic was such a compelling story, and yet you know how important it is to Patrick Rafter to win at Wimbledon. First serve.
Pavel was there. Rafter's one of the best at that drop volley, but that one stayed up a little high. And you got to be very, very careful when you play a drop volley on a hard court, because it does bounce up quite a bit higher than it would, say, on a grass court or even on a clay court. Rafter got away with one there. Makes that high backhand volley look so routine, Bill, and that's a difficult shot. Again, the serve, he takes both arms up at the same time. Not exactly traditional, but the good explosiveness from the legs, and then here's that high backhand, so strong with his shoulder. Remember, he had an operation on that shoulder about 1.5 years ago. Boy, he's come back well from that.
So we remain on serve 4-3, and we'll be back with more from Montreal after this message and a word from your local station. Distance, always a wonderful event.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Bill. I want to get you away from the golf just for a couple of days a year.
Well, I'm enjoying this as well.
Of course, we'll be spending some time together, won't we, at the U.S. Open in a couple weeks. Looking forward to that.
Busy summer of tennis here on CBS. 3-4. I talked a little bit about Pavel and his injuries. It's one explanation as to why he's been a late bloomer. He had elbow surgery in '96. He said it took 8 or 9 months to heal, and during that time he lost all of his points he had earned on the challenger level and had to go back to playing satellite events.
That's right. He was just really making his move then, the way he's moving on up.
He said,
Andre Pavel.
So look at how his rankings have improved all the way up to 28. Said he was all by himself. He didn't have money to pay for a coach. He had trouble pushing himself, he said. And he thought seriously of giving up the game, but he decided to stay around a little bit longer, started winning, beat some players in the top 10, won his first tour title in Tokyo.
It's really one of the great stories, Bill, when you see someone like a Pavel come from a communist country, of course, Romania, and get out of there at a pretty young age and get the opportunity to have a career as a pro athlete. As you see this forehand beautifully struck. Again, moving forward, Pavel has really taken his opportunities to get to net all week. And it's been a steady rise for Pavel, and a lot of hard work, and he's gotten fitter in the last year, and that's helped a lot. Whoops, almost got hit by the ball kid there. And I'll tell you what, he's handling the pressure of this moment incredibly well. I mean, so we've obviously told you it's his first big final, first Masters Series final. You think maybe he'd come out with some nerves playing Rafter, who this is just like another Sunday for him.
Foot fault is called.
He's had a few of those called on him this week. It's not a first.
And he's playing Rafter on this surface, which is where he's had his greatest success.
Oh, look at that.
That was a wicked angle.
That reminds me of a return that someone I know pretty well, Bill. My brother used to play, Johnny Mac, the little slice forehand angle. Look at the way the short little backswing comes from high to low. Very firm with the wrist there. Don't see that shot played too often these days.
So deuce, and the streak, which is at 42 consecutive service games held, is threatened. And that's what he's been able to do, Patrick, on these big points.
It's been uncanny, Bill, all week from Pavel. Under pressure, good solid first serve into the body, and then comes in and says, I can hit the high backhand volley crisply as well. He's an all-court player, Pavel, and he's showing it so far today. Big second.
How about that? 43 straight service games now for Pavel. And coming this fall on CBS, get set for TV's next great reality show where ordinary people live out an extraordinary adventure. The Amazing Race, Wednesdays this fall on CBS. So a very tight match. This is kind of what we were hoping for. Andre Pavel, Patrick Rafter, level at 4 in the first set.
No break points yet in this match. When you see Pavel hit a second serve like that, Bill, just going for it, you know that this is a guy who's in the zone, is full of confidence of winning all those service games in a row. You just feel like good things will happen. Talk about good things happening on the second serve. What a nasty slice there.
That's 5 aces for Rafter.
Rafter's a rhythm player, and when he gets into a rhythm, especially on serve, he is deadly. There's another one.
And what do? Try to take a little time?
You try to guess a little bit. You try to lean towards one direction, what Pavel has actually done, but Rafter's burned him. That's the only thing you can do. Oh, look at that great stretch. The court coverage from Rafter. He's like a cat out there. So quick here for this first one, and look how quickly he pushes off to get back into position, and then at full stretch. No one volleys as well as Rafter at full stretch. Quickly to 40 love.
Oh, another ace. That's 7. 5-4 in the first set. Earlier this week here on Stadium Court, a group of NHL players and ATP Tour players got together for a friendly game of court hockey. A crowd of about 4,000 was here to watch Canada's national sport, a little different version. Leo Cradle with the goal for the ATP side, which won 6-5.
Well, I'm told the ATP was dominant there. You know, those hockey players, they need those skates on. They're not used to changing directions on without ice underneath them, unlike the tennis players. Of course, it went to overtime, Bill.
It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's some great NHL stars out there.
He had that lined up.
But he's handled the pressure so well, Pavel. Just unloading on that forehand. First point, you're serving to stay in the set. You think maybe you'd be a little tight, not go for it. Nope. Pavel, another winner. And Pavel knows he's under a lot of pressure because of how well Rafter's serving. Missed it. Always gets tougher to make those passing shots the deeper you get into the set. Rafter knows it. And again, the drop volley there from Rafter wins him the point. 15 all at 4-5. Pavel says, okay, I'm going to make you hit the pass. He doesn't want to have to come up with those against Rafter. Stay in the set, so he takes the first opportunity and gets in.
30-15.
Out.
40-15. Point away from 44 straight service games held.
Just long, just wide. Rafter again using his speed.
Just remarkable court coverage from Rafter.
Not only that, but great anticipation. Look at Rafter. He's already off and running. He knows Pavel's got to get down low for that. He rips it. Pavel can't handle the pace. Look how far out wide he is. And immediately he's running. Great tennis in this first set. Both players playing at that's really the first bad mistake from Pavel. Trying to go for the backhand up the line. He wasn't in good enough position. No break points yet in this first set. Rafter getting closer, though. Unbelievable. Well, Pavel's come up with these big serves when he's needed them the most. Look at this first serve. Right down the middle. Just inside the line. That's only his second ace. Rafter throwing everything at Pavel in this point, and the Romanian hangs in there.
We've talked about how dominant Pavel has been on his serve. Patrick Rafter has been close to perfect in this match. He has been perfect when he's gotten his first serve in. Look at that, 13 of 13.
He's only lost 2 points on his second serve, Bill. 7 for 9. Beautifully done.
That draws some applause from Pavel.
You just don't expect it. You just don't think that a guy has the presence of mind, Bill, when he has to hit a half volley here as Rafter does. You think he's just going to push it back deep, and look what Rafter does. Carves it. Pavel was already starting to take a step backwards to prepare for the pass. Completely outwitted. That ball's got so much action on it. Lands short in the box, in the service box. That makes the angle even more acute. Rafter cleans up the mess at net. 19 of 24 for the Australian at the net. Oh, there it is again. He has such great technique on that drop volley, does Rafter. He doesn't just rely on his soft hands. Gets in the great position. Look at that. Stays low, eye right on the ball. Gets under the ball well.
And that was long.
Rafter says, what? I missed a volley?
We're surprised too.
First point he's lost on his first serve.
Matt Cam. That wasn't very close.
Come on, you got to know you can't fool the Matt Cam, Patrick.
So 40-15. Not yet.
Well, this is why people guy Rafter. He gives you everything, but he also gives you a little more. There's a Matt Cam. He's getting a lot of work today. Rafter knows that you got to play to the crowd a little. He enjoys it. Fans respond, don't they?
There it is. So a very tight first set at 6-5. Last week, one of the glamour players in men's tennis, Jan Michael Gamble, was the subject of a modeling photo shoot. Next Sunday, you can see the entire story on Topspin. That begins at 12:30 Eastern Time here on CBS. Andre Pavel still working on that streak. It's now at 45 consecutive games, and if he makes it 46, we'll have a tiebreak in the first set. I think Patrick felt that was out.
Wasn't in, mate. I think that Rafter's going to argue too much if he doesn't think he's right. That did look wide.
He does that with dignity, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's even nice about it. Goes down his power.
Wonderful touch. 30 love.
Well, you know you hit a good drop volley when Rafter can't catch up to, because he's already moving in that direction. Pavel handles it beautifully. That time he shows that he can hit the touch on the backhand volley as well.
Another foot fault called.
Rafter says that was the best return I hit all day. I had a clean winner on the return. Told you, Bill, that Pavel has one of the toughest backhands in the business. He can flatten it out. He can hook it cross court as he did there. He can rip it up the line. Point away from the tiebreak.
Second serve. A love game, and that's 46 straight service games for Pavel. Final of the Tennis Masters Series, Montreal. Another sellout crowd here at Jerry Park in the northern part of the city of Montreal. Unseeded Andre Pavel against two-time U.S. Open champion Patrick Rafter. Rafter will serve to start the tiebreak.
Oh, what a volley. Incredible hands there from Rafter. Actually didn't hit as good a serve as he's hit throughout the day, and it gave Pavel a look at the return, and he spanked it. Well, look at that pickup. Right off the shoelaces for a clean winner. Again, the backhand side from Pavel gets it done. You're under so much pressure there when you see Rafter chip that ball. It was a pretty good approach. Pavel handles it. Again, keeping that passing shot low and forcing the volley error.
Footfall called again. That's 3.
So what does Rafter do? He says, well, I better make that approach a little bit deeper if I want to win the point. And that forces him to just slightly overhit the approach. That happens because of the way Pavel's been hitting that backhand pass. He's practicing that backhand, so he doesn't need to do that. Pavel practiced the backhand. Like Rafter just misjudged that slightly. It was another good return. The backhand gets down low. Rafter does well, and Pavel to topspin lob. There's the pickup, and on the dead run, Pavel with the aggressive hit. There it is again. It's money right now.
Rafter just leaning left. And Pavel blew it by him.
And Rafter's paid the price for not going for the serve in the corner. Pavel with a great return, and then I told you he could hurt you either way. And look at the early preparation. Look at the quick steps. Explodes through that ball.
4-1.
Some murmurs from the crowd, but I think that return stayed in. Pavel sort of hoping for a call. See if we can get a look at the Mac cam here. Yep, definitely on the line. That's where you hear the people in the crowd whistle, and you say, well, maybe it was out. I hope it was, but Pavel still with the mini break in this tiebreak.
Change ends at 4-2. Last time Patrick was here in Montreal, Patrick Rafter that is, in 1999, struggling with his rotator cuff injury, lost in the quarterfinals, and since had the surgery. And one of the things that Patrick Rafter does now is take a little more time off. He said if he plays for 6 or 7 weeks, he'll now take 3 weeks off to rest.
Well, not only that, Bill, but he also Rafter has to be very diligent about taking care of that shoulder during the tournaments, doing the rehab, resting it, getting treatment. Unforced error from Rafter in that point, though. He's feeling the pressure now of how well Pavel's playing. This guy's in his zone. Andre Pavel, anything he gets a look at, he's hitting for a clean winner in this tiebreak. Again, the return, he pokes at it. Rafter's been putting these volleys away. Doesn't quite go for it, and look at Pavel. On the run, he reads it. And when he's passing you with the forehand, you know you have problems.
One set point saved. Still 3 remaining. First set tiebreak, Tennis Masters Series Montreal Championship Final. And the first set goes to unseeded Andre Pavel of Romania. 7-6 in a tiebreak. Back in Montreal and the biggest tennis day of Andre Pavel's career. He left Romania at the age of 16 to train in Germany, and this his first time in a final of an event this big.
Well, you look at the stats, Bill, and you figure that Rafter won it. He had more aces, more winners, better serving percentage, the same amount of errors. But Andre Pavel taking his opportunities in the tiebreak with some brilliant shot making and withstanding the pressure that Rafter's put on his serve. Despite not having any break points, neither player has. Rafter was the one that got to deuce a couple of times. The dream is continuing for Pavel because everything's turning up gold when he needs it. And as I said, he's not the kind of player that has the big firepower, that has the big serve that can get him out of trouble. He has to think. He has to play perfect strategic tennis against the best players in the world. He's doing that again. This is very similar to the match that he had with Andy Roddick earlier in the week in the quarterfinals, Pavel. In that it was Roddick that had more weapons, that had more firepower, but it was Pavel that played the big points well, better under pressure. Roddick got frustrated, though, a little bit against Pavel. I don't think that'll happen with Rafter, though. Too much experience, too much savvy. Rafter will, excuse me, Bill. Rafter will continue to work. He'll continue to chip away. He'll continue to try different things.
Will he pull back a little bit and try to make Pavel make the mistakes?
He might. He just did on that point. Still think that the way Rafter beats you at the end of the day is by camping himself out at the net and putting pressure on. But here he gets a couple of loose, he gets a couple of freebies here. So all of a sudden now Pavel in trouble at 15-30. Complete mishit there. But maybe Rafter will say, you know what, I'll try that, Bill. I'll let the guy think about it. He's handled the pressure so far.
Maybe this a bit of a dangerous time for Pavel after winning a very tight first set. It's a battle of letdown.
Well, there you have it, Bill. You jinxed him. You know, and Rafter has enough experience to know that sometimes the better play is to let your opponent think about it a little bit. He saved 16 straight break points. Here comes number 17, the first one of the day.
That's 17 straight break points that Pavel has saved.
Let me talk about when things are going your way. He mishits the half volley here. Rafter does well. Pops it up high. Boy, did he get away with that one there, Pavel. And Rafter had time. He could have actually just dinked it cross court right there.
Still break point. And the streak is still alive.
Incredible. This guy is playing with borrowed time, but he is coming up with the shots. Everything going his way. Rafter plays a perfect point. He comes to it. He's got him at full stretch. He's just trying to put it back in the court. Gets it at Rafter's feet. I wonder if Rafter knows his stat. He'll be thinking about it if he knows about it. 18 straight break points saved.
First serve. You're right, Patrick. It is remarkable when you think that he doesn't have a big serve. He's not getting a lot of free points.
No. Tried to go for one there. Doesn't really have that, though. Only 3 aces today. There, Rafter connects.
And another break chance.
Short second serve, and Rafter all over it. He's been sitting on this one out wide because Pavel has been going there frequently. Rafter right there, measures it. His 3rd break point of this game. Good heat on that first serve.
That's 19.
The longer this game goes, too, the bigger it gets. If Pavel can sneak out of this one, boy, what a boost for his confidence.
Another footfall call. That's 4. Andrei Pavel has not lost his serve since the 2nd game of his 2nd round match against Francisco Clavet. Oh, that's too good. And the foot faults are starting to bother Pavel.
Yep, it's happened many times, though, during this week. There's the drop volley. Rafter right on top of the net. It was the approach that set it up.
There it is. And Pavel walked over and had a word with the linesman who has called those foot faults. Now over to talk to Norm Christ in the chair.
And then he calls a foot fault, yeah? Well, he has to wait until you hit the ball to call a foot fault.
What do you mean? You have to call it before the serve, before I hit the ball.
No, a foot fault is only after you hit the ball.
That's right. Norm Christ is right. Pavel's got to know the rule there. Let's look. This has happened a few times this week. Now, you have to wait until the ball is struck before you call the foot fault. And watch Pavel here. Watch this back foot come up here. Let's see it. He brings it forward. See how he drags it. Then as you see, obviously right there, it's on the line. And then as he goes to hit it, that's when the linesman correctly makes the call.
The streak of 46 straight service games comes to an end.
That's more frustration from Pavel. I mean, when he saved, was it 20 in a row or 19 break points in a row, you cannot keep flirting with those types of numbers.
It was fun to watch.
I don't care how much things are going your way. At some point, you can't keep flirting with that type of disaster. Especially when you got a guy like Patrick Rafter on the other side of the net.
All right, at his feet.
That backhand side again of Pavel. Now this is a test now for Pavel. How he responds from finally getting broken. Trying to move his feet, trying to stay positive. Got to be careful though with Rafter, because if he gets on top of you, he can be like a runaway train. There's a serve out wide here, and you know what he's going to do. He knows what he's going to do. Everybody in the stadium knows what he's going to do. But when he's on, you can't stop him. Oh, how about that explosiveness on the back end? Just rips it.
It's an appreciative nod from Rafter.
Return sets it up, keeps it low. Watch the beautiful stroke on this. Stays down. Oh, what a beautiful shot this is. You see the way he rips at it. Accelerates through that ball.
30 all.
Oh, he's got it.
On the inside part of the line.
Well, he's certainly not holding back, is he, Pavel, now that he's gotten down a break. Huge backhand on the last point, and this time in the forehand, he steps in right on the line.
And a chance to break right back. His first break point chance of the match.
How about that move from Rafter, electing to stay back and not give Pavel a look at the return. To hit the clean winner. Rafter takes his time, good depth on that backhand, and then he comes in.
Deuce.
Another good return from Pavel. Rafter handles the low forehand volley there. What a high level of tennis this is now.
So Rafter holds, and after losing the first set tiebreak, is up 2-love here in the second. And tonight on 60 Minutes, how does a Florida bean picker get to live like a king by going to law school and becoming one of America's richest lawyers? That's tonight on 60 Minutes here on CBS. Here in Montreal, great tennis, a very tight first set. And Rafter out early here in the second. Love.
Oh, just missed it.
What an exchange.
Again, Rafter with his speed. Look at the way he runs up, sprints up to this one, and then drops it back over. And Pavel showing his feel around the net. This was too much if that had gone in. This is where you start to wonder, Bill. Now that the first set went to Pavel and now Rafter up a break, will fitness become a factor? Very hot, very humid conditions. If it does, you have to like Rafter in that department.
Pavel with his fourth ace for 40 love. And a love service game from Pavel. 2-1. And we'll be back with more from Montreal after this message and a word from your local station. Let's take a look at the American Express shot of the tournament, and it comes from the first round match between Tommy Haas and Alex Calatrava.
There you go, some speed there from the Spaniard over the head of the German Haas, and hello! Great week for Haas, getting all the way to the semifinals, but losing yesterday to Andre Pavel.
Tommy Haas with our American Express shot of the tournament. And back live. Rafter serving up a break here in the second set.
New balls in this game for Rafter to serve with. Players, of course, changing balls after 7 and then 9 games. Drops in. That might become the American Express shot of the tournament. Rafter, look at the way he did this over his head. This is like the old Romanian. Remember the Bucharest backfire? Nastase? Where's Nastase, the last Romanian to get to the final here? It was back in '75 in Canada. Pavel now.
Started to say lost that year. Did Ilie Nastase to Manuel Orantes after winning in Toronto in 1972. So 15 love.
Rafter looked like he jammed his knee slightly there. His left knee. That's what he did here just as he's coming in here. Oh, he scraped it on the ground there. Yeah, that's what he did. That doesn't feel particularly good on this surface.
Oh, that dropped in. The prayer wasn't answered.
You don't see this too often from Patrick Rafter. Misjudgment around the net. Ball well in.
Wishing it would fly about a foot further.
And there's the scrape on the knee.
15-30. Beautifully placed serve. 30 all.
Rafter serving at just slightly under 70% first serve percentage for the match. It's a good solid number for him. Someone with a big serve that goes for a lot of aces is happy to be really in the low 60s, but Rafter, who's looking more to set it up, he needs to be a little higher, and that's where he is.
There's another nice serve. 40-30.
There's the percentage. Rafter, though, picking it up in the early stages of the second set. But his second serve is so effective. And when he hits that well, he wins a lot of points with the second also. There's ace number 8 for Rafter.
And a hole for 3-1. Next Sunday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, we'll be in Ohio for the finals of the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, the rest of the world's top players will all be there. That's next Sunday at 1 Eastern here on CBS.
Well, another great field at the Tennis Masters Series there in Cincinnati. Where's Pete Sampras will be showing up, taking on Nicholas Lepenti. A tough first round for Sampras. Excuse me. How about Andy Roddick and Gustavo Kuerten in the opening round? They played in the third round here in the round of 16. Roddick beating Kuerten in 3 sets.
How about the development of Andy Roddick? I mean, he's the youngest player at age 18 and 11 months, ranked in the top 50.
It's been a phenomenal rise, and phenomenally quickly just in the last year for Roddick. Talk about coming just in time for the American public, of course.
And the American Davis Cup captain.
That's for sure. Well, I'll certainly enjoy that. Hoping to have young Andy Roddick on the Davis Cup team for a long time.
Meanwhile, Davis Cup, very important for that man.
Well, when you
Rafter.
ask him what he wants to accomplish in tennis, he says 2 things always, Patrick Rafter: win Wimbledon and win the Davis Cup for Australia. And one of the most disappointing moments he had was last year in the Davis Cup final, when Australia lost to Spain. In fact, Rafter had to pull out during his match with Juan Carlos Ferrero. Of course, that played on clay in Spain.
Barcelona, and he said it was just devastating. Cramps there.
Australia right back in the thick of it this year in the semifinals, which will take place a couple of weeks after the U.S. Open.
Easy service game from Pavel. 3-2 in the second set. Rafter up a break. Don't forget, plenty of great tennis to come here on CBS next Sunday. As we said, we'll be in Cincinnati for the final. Then it's the women's Pilot Pen in New Haven. Arthur Ashe Kids Day kicks off our U.S. Open coverage, which begins officially with our late night show starting Monday. Patrick and Mary will be with you every night. And our live coverage 7 hours a day over Labor Day weekend. And it's championship weekend, the women's championship live in prime time on Super Saturday, September 8th, and the men's final on Sunday. Great tennis this summer on CBS.
About that, a little prime time U.S. Open for the women's championship. I love that this year.
Under the lights at the National Tennis Center. After serving 3-2, down a set to unseeded Andrei Pavel of Romania.
15.
Ace number 9 for Rafter.
Now, we mentioned Patrick's talk of retirement. He said he'd like to do it at the end of the year, but he sort of left it open-ended, saying he'll take a few months off. If he really misses playing, maybe he'll start training again and try a comeback. Another ace. He is playing so well, though, Patrick, it's hard to think of him walking away from the game.
Well, I spoke to him as you see this ace out wide from Rafter, now in double digits with 10 earlier in the week, and he said that obviously Wimbledon is one of his goals. To win that, he's disappointed to lose 2 in a row. I said, well, look, I said, if Wimbledon, you think about Wimbledon next year, you're certainly one of the 2-3 favorites, no question, going in. And that's when he said, well, you know, I may think about if I start to miss tennis the first couple months of next year of 2002, then I'll start thinking about trying to prepare for Wimbledon and come back, play some tournaments, and get ready for Wimbledon again. But you don't want to take too much time off. Even when you're as good as Rafter, you need to be out there. The game is evolving almost every year, the professional game. The players get stronger, they're younger, they're more, you know, physically gifted now. Training is a lot bigger part of tennis, both in the men's and women's side. If you leave for too far, you get left behind pretty quickly. But look at that pass.
That wicked backhand.
This is just a great point all the way around. Look at that pass. On the rise, he takes that ball. Beautiful timing. Great balance. Look at the backhand winners. 6 for Pavel, none for Rafter.
40-30.
Ten aces for Rafter, and that's his first double fault of the day.
Takes us to deuce. Pavel trying to earn what would be only his second break point of the match. Oh, what a stretch from Rafter.
There's no one in the world, Bill, that could make a volley like that other than Patrick Rafter. Beautiful serve. Angled it. Pavel hit a spectacular return, and Rafter on the dead run, able to get to it, not only get to it, but control it and punch it cross court. Just tremendous.
Point for 4-2.
And there again, he gets to another wide one.
So Rafter holds. And we had a chance to talk to Patrick about why he's thinking about leaving the game.
I just think that I need a break to see. I'm a bit sick and tired of travelling, playing a lot of tournaments, dealing with the pressure day in, day out. It comes a little bit stale after a while. And I'd like to take a look back, sit back, and see how much I miss the game. And if I miss it, then I'll be back. If not, I'll stay away.
And Patrick McEnroe, he is one of those guys that you think, well, if he leaves, he might be able to come back. If he decides that he really wants to play again, he certainly has the work ethic for it.
He's not one of those guys, Bill, despite the fact that every time he goes out there, he competes like an animal, but he's not one of those guys who you really sense just loves that. You know, he's not a guy who has a mean streak, who just wants to get out there and fight and claw. He does it all the time, but he's just like a good old bloke, you know? He's a guy that likes to hang out with his buddies. And he really, I mean, we hear this a lot, he really is a regular guy, and that's how he wants to be. He comes from a family of 9 kids, so you certainly had to get used to dealing with other people. Now the pressure, though, maybe beginning to wear on Pavel as Rafter continuing to bore in.
Love 30. Able to come up with a good serve there for 15-30.
Rafter's brother and his girlfriend there, Lara Feltham, brother Peter, as I mentioned,
one of those
one of the
9 children.
9.
Mom used to make clothes for the family, and you know, when Lacoste shirts were popular, she used to go down and buy the little crocodiles and sew them on the shirts. Unable to put that away. So Pavel able to climb right back in this game from love 30 down.
Good forehand pass here. Rafter was there, though. Would have given him 2 break points to pretty much shut the door on this second set. And Pavel still hanging in. Rafter, though, just chipping away. Oh, just missed it long. Pavel dead in the water there. Here's the replay. Whistles from the crowd, but that ball clearly long as the Mac Cam shows it.
Deuce.
One of the few backhand errors from Pavel. There's another. Again, the pressure from Rafter just building. Giving nothing away, the Australian. Time he kept that return down low, and here's his 5th break point opportunity. He's broken once earlier in this set.
Another break for Rafter, and when we come back, he'll serve to try to level the match at a set apiece. Back at the Jerry Park Tennis Center in Montreal. This was the original home of the Montreal Expos. Now converted into a beautiful tennis facility. The stadium court seats about 11,000, actually expanded 1,000 seats prior to this year. As Patrick Rafter serves for the second set. Good start. His 11th ace, 4th of this set.
$11 aces, just 1 double. That's the biggest number, is that second serve points won. 72%. Remarkable. Big kick on that serve. Of course, the volleys to back it up. I mean, Bill, most players are happy if they can win 50% of their points on the second serve. Rafter's over 70%.
And at this point, down 1 set, although likely to level the match. But usually with numbers like that, you're in a dominant position. That's a tribute to the play of Andre Pavel. Double fault. That's only the second of the match. 30-15. And that's why Pavel is so dangerous.
Not over just yet. Rafter doesn't do enough with the volley. Keeps it basically down the middle. Pavel doesn't have to move too far. It's the forehand winner.
30 all. And the set point. Crowd here appreciating the fine play they've seen so far from these two men. And we're even at a set apiece. 6-2 Rafter in the second. Coming up at the conclusion of this match, the final round of the International presented by Quest. And a look at the leaderboard and the final round. The modified Stableford scoring system plus is good in this format. Tom Pernice Jr. with a 3-point lead, but that can change quickly. Here's a look at the heat on court. Looks like just right around 100 degrees. And that looked like it was shaded a bit.
Yeah, it's in the shade. So imagine what it is in the sunshine. It's got to be over 110.
It's a nice start for Pavel in the third set. His 5th ace of the match.
Rafter's used this serve very well. The slider out wide. Pavel with, as you said, Bill, ace number 5. Oh, how about that shot?
And how did Rafter fight that off?
How did he fight it off, and how did he get enough pace on it? He doesn't even know. Look at this one. Amazing. Almost hit him in the chest.
I was going to say, forget about getting it back. It almost hit him. Wow. 15 all.
Well, Andre Pavel had a long opening game in his quarterfinal match with young Andy Roddick. Roddick had won the second set. As you see the replay, a good low volley there, and then he knocks off the high one. Roddick had won the second set and had break points on Pavel in the opening game of the third. Pavel was able to hold on, and to me, that was the key moment in the match. Don't believe that Pavel will be able to come back if he gets down an early break the way Rafter's been serving and the type of player that Rafter is when he gets the momentum going. Crucial these first couple of service games for Pavel, up 40-15.
So Pavel holds to start set number 3. The lineup tonight on CBS. It begins with 60 Minutes. How does a Florida bean picker get to live like a king? By going to law school and becoming one of America's richest lawyers. Tonight on 60 Minutes. That's followed by Touched by an Angel. And then the CBS Sunday movie, The Third Twin. It's all here. Don't miss it tonight on CBS. First service game for Rafter here in the third set. And that is ace number 12.
Tip for tat. Rafter starts off his opening service game with the wide one. And I think if you're Andre Pavel here now, Bill, this is what he has to be saying to himself. He gets to look at his second serve like he does here. If he can get a good hit at it, he's just got to crack it. He's got to try to hit a couple of winners. Take some risks because Rafter, I was going to say, is not going to give him anything, but he just sort of gave him a point there. This is an awkward shot when you have to do an overhead as you're moving forward. Even the athletic Rafter can't control that one.
15 all.
Pavel does have the edge here, having served first. He's up a game. Could wrestle the momentum right away from Rafter with an early break. See right there, he's got a good look at that second serve. He's got to just take a rip at it. Tried to guide it, hit it inside out. Rafter's not going to miss a volley, I don't think. It's this stage of the match. He's too good. Comfortable, easy, high forehand. Pavel gets a look like that. Just take a rip. Great thing about Rafter's serve, though, is that he rarely gives you the opportunity to get a full swing because it jumps up high. That one's out of reach. There again, Pavel forced to stretch.
1 all. Well, this is an important measuring stick if you look forward to the upcoming U.S. Open. Here's how former champions have done from Canada to the Open. Agassi winning the Open in '94, a finalist in '95. Of course, Patrick Rafter, we talked about that. That was in Toronto. And Rod Safin won in Toronto last year. Can they rotate the event? The women will be in Toronto starting a week from tomorrow. 15 love.
Way to handle the pressure there from Pavel as he pumps his fists. Rafter doesn't try to hit a lot of pace on that approach shot. Just gets it deep, and then that gives him a little more time to set up shop and net. But Pavel able to get it out of his reach with the down the line pass.
First serve, let call.
Just what Pavel needs at this stage. He's had to fight very hard throughout the first 2 sets. An easy service game. This is where you have to save up all your energy. time the body serve didn't pay off. Rafter just easily moved out of the way of it, went with the ball and just blocked it up the line.
40-15. Now another nice serve out wide from Pavel. On serve in the third and final set. Always a great start to the 2 weeks at the National Tennis Center. And what a tremendous match this has been. Patrick Rafter, Andre Pavel in the third set on serve, 1-2.
And the clearest indication when you look at stats in a match, Bill, of how well the match is being played is the winners to errors. And both players with more winners than errors in this match. Pavel 24 winners to 19 errors, and Rafter 33 winners to 19 errors.
Just wide. 30 love.
Pavel changed his positioning there on the second serve. He gave himself a little more room, stepped back, try to get a good swing at the ball. And it's tough to handle that kicker when you're way back there because it jumps up so high. Not to mention the fact that that gives Rafter even a little more time to get into the net. There's Pavel again. See him way behind the baseline. That's where Rafter has the time. See that to get in.
Love game from Rafter for 2-all.
At least Pavel's thinking. At least he's trying something different. He's only had that one break point opportunity. And the pressure, as you see the time of the match, an hour 42. That's where the pressure continues to mount now. New balls. See Pavel showing them the Rafter, checking the sun on his side. Oh, well done by Pavel. First serve percentage by set. Look at the way the guys have picked it up as the match has gone on. Talk about the stakes increasing in the third set. Well, so is their play. The level of it anyway. Pavel again getting to net, the drop volley. Rafter had time on this one. Didn't do too well with that one. Did Rafter.
30 love. Well, plenty at stake financially here. The winner, $400,000. The loser of this match, $211,000.
Well, already by far the best week of Andre Pavel's career. But he has really handled the pressure well. He's played as well as he can play in this final.
That's long. 30 all.
Pavel upset with the, I think with the call, but he knew it was just long.
30 all.
So Matt Cam again, well long. Now really the first pressure point of this third set at 30 all.
And again, as he has all week, Pavel able to respond.
Great second serve by Pavel there, set that up. This forehand right there, he gets Rafter on the run, sneaks in. Saw Rafter sprinting to the other side and smartly just poked it behind him. He has kept his intensity, his concentration throughout, Pavel, throughout the championship.
He holds. We're still on serve. 3-2. And we'll be back with more from Montreal after this message and a word from your local station. Jim Nance, thank you very much. We'll be sending you out to Castle Pines immediately at the conclusion of this match. On serve here in the third set. Rafter now at 2-3.
That time Rafter handling the overhead in midair comfortably. Again, look at the athleticism of this guy. Skies up a la Pete Sampras to slam dunk.
15 love.
Ace number 13 for Rafter. Swinging that one up the middle.
Sorry, Mike.
Rafter hasn't lost a point in this set when he's gotten the first serve in. 9 for 9. In fact, that's only the third first serve he's missed in the whole set. Beautifully done by Pavel. Ripped the backhand return. And then what a well struck forehand topspin lob way inside the baseline. The topspin bringing it down quickly. Well, that's what I'm talking about, Bill. Might as well just take a rip at it.
He did.
He sure did, and this was a tough serve. It kicked up high, but so much strength from Pavel. Gets it on the rise and rips it down at the feet of Rafter. Look how he moved into that. He's got to just continue to take those opportunities and just rip it.
He knows how close he is, too. In the third set against a player of the caliber of Patrick Rafter on this stage.
What presence of mind of Rafter there. Wasn't a bad move from Pavel. At this stage of the match, you have to win it. Both these players playing the type of tennis at the moment. That's not going to give anything away. Great return there. He sliced it. Rafter able to poke it behind Pavel, who would try to cheat his way in.
40-30. There's the stab back into the net. Deuce.
Well, Rafter may have to think twice about going back to that Pavel backhand. He is just going for it and making them in this game.
That's how tight things are. After serving 2-3.
Goes wide.
Another game point for 3-all.
Talk about knowing where you are in the court right there from Rafter. I mean, it's 2-3 in the third. It's a championship final. It's deuce. That ball was out by about 1.5 inches, and Rafter never looked like there was a doubt in his mind.
Rafter holds. 3-all in the third set of the Tennis Masters Series Montreal final. Two-time U.S. Open champion. Played that great Wimbledon final this year. Patrick Rafter against unseeded 27-year-old Andrei Pavel of Romania. Pavel serving at 3-all in the third. And a reminder that coming up next, the International presented by Quest. Final round coverage from beautiful Castle Pines. We're on CBS.
Look at Rafter. Says I hit the chip approach on the line. Could it be that he's thinking this is not my day? This is the week of Andrei Pavel's life. It skids off the line. Pavel able to control it, hit the net court, and then drops in on the paint.
30 love. And quickly to 40 love. Patrick Rafter hasn't won a tour event since last summer in the Netherlands, but this is his first tournament back since losing that remarkable Wimbledon final to Goran Ivanisevic 9-7 in the fifth. Love game from Pavel, so he's not backing off. 4-3 on serve in the third. Immediately at the conclusion of this final, we'll be sending you to Castle Pines for the final round of the International presented by Quest. They've been playing for 1 hour and 55 minutes. Rafter serving 3-4, third set. Andrei Pavel, 27 years old, in the far court from Romania. Patrick Rafter, the two-time U.S. Open champion, in the near court.
Oh, hello!
And that's what Pavel has done all week. Those kinds of shots.
Uncanny, Bill, with that backhand, and here is the opportunity for Pavel now. Look at this backhand on the run. Beautifully rolled. Look at the angle, the early preparation, watching that ball. This is his chance now. 3-4, love 15. I don't think if it gets to 5-all onward that Pavel can win this. Rafter just too tough at those crucial moments. And there's the first shake from Patrick Rafter. Only his third double.
And a real opportunity for Pavel at love 30. This, the biggest match of Andrei Pavel's career.
I just don't think that making the return is going to be enough. Rafter just too solid. Gets in quickly. Pavel's got to win this.
Thought it was wide.
I think he hoped it was wide. It looked like it caught the line. Sitting right up top. Norm Chris, he's not going to overrule that one no matter what. the center service line, the toughest one for the umpire to see. That ball looked like it just caught.
14 aces. And Rafter right back to 30 all.
Rafter gave Pavel a look at that. Pavel continuing to look at the line. He took a good rip at that. Rafter had a few options there. He played that a little casually, I thought. Pavel mishitting the topspin lob attempt.
Found the corner.
If Pavel can hold that backhand to the last second, we've seen him flick it cross court. Rafter, I think, was sitting on that one. Look at Pavel. Look how low he gets. He waits. He waits. And then he rips it up the line. Covers it nicely. Good top spin.
Deuce.
No break points yet for either player in this deciding set.
And a huge moment in the match. Pavel will get a look at a second serve.
Good aggressive return.
A break point. Andrei Pavel grew up in Romania, moved to Germany to train when he was 16 years old. Now lives in Germany, but plays Davis Cup for Romania. He's a hero in that country. And that was just wide.
After looking at it, Pavel has yet to break serve in this match. Well, he had the opportunity and he did go for it. Pavel did. And Rafter actually missed the easier volley, but Pavel earned that break. His first one of the match, and now the 27-year-old veteran can serve for his first Masters Series title.
That's too good. And that's what Rafter's been able to do today. Come up with those kinds of angles. Love 15. Easy put away. 15 all. Pavel is 3 points away from his biggest championship in tennis. Andrei Pavel, growing up in Romania, he said there were plenty of coaches, plenty of opportunity for young players, but if communism hadn't fallen, he would have been able to travel and develop as a professional. But he was able to leave, move to Germany. He took his tennis to another level, and now he's 2 points away from a big upset over Patrick Rafter and his first Tennis Masters Series championship, 30-15. Match just over 2 hours old. Oh, right on the line.
First 30. 38.
Rafter very aggressive. Pavel coming in. Fine all-court player. Pavel feels just as comfortable in as he does from the baseline. And a championship point. What a story this is in tennis. Andrei Pavel, who has struggled for so many years. Now at this point, at the age of 27, this would be the biggest victory of his career. And an ace! There were times when Pavel almost left the game. He was broke. He said he lacked direction. He wouldn't push himself. But he loved playing tennis, and he thought, well, maybe if I keep going, and that's exactly what has happened to bring Andrei Pavel to this point in his career. And let's go down to Patrick McEnroe. Patrick?
Thanks, Bill. I'm here live with Andre. I mean, what a dream week. Your first Tennis Masters Series title. How did you pull this thing off?
I don't know, man. I'm so nervous right now. I'm like, my voice is just like, I'm sorry about that, but this is a dream come true. A dream come true. I'm telling you that. I pulled this with two great serves again, like against Roddick. I mean, the pressure was so big, and I said, just keep smiling, enjoy this, and this is beautiful here, and just go for it, and that paid off. I mean, it feels amazing. It feels great.
Well done, Andre. Congratulations. Back up to you, Bill. Happy man down here.
All right, Patrick, thank you. A moment that Andrei Pavel will never forget. Winning in 3 sets over Patrick Rafter. So for Patrick McEnroe, this is Bill McAtee saying so long from Canada, where Andrei Pavel has won the Tennis Masters Series Montreal. Coming up next on CBS Sports, the international final round coverage from beautiful Castle Pines. You've been watching CBS Sports, home of the U.S. Open.